request is we like to avoid gyan. We like to avoid generic statements, this is how it should be done. We like to focus on personal examples and anecdotes. So to the extent possible, if you are answering anything, try to share an example, try to share an anecdote as to refer to which people can learn from. But let's avoid generic because, that I think in this group at least everyone will know. No kids around here. So that's just the only request. We keep the first hour for a formal sit-down conversation, but by end of it, you would have heard each other enough. So the next 1 hour is all about standing up, having coffee, and continuing the conversation with a few specific people that you think you want to take back as friends after the session. For us, the biggest achievement is if each of you makes at least one new friend who you actually continue the discussions with post the session. So I'll just get started quickly. And another thing is, as far as possible, be precise and short so everyone gets an opportunity to share their experiences and we can discuss more areas. Otherwise, one thing becomes a monologue, then, we may sort of not cover enough ground. But we'll just get started with a quick round of introductions where each of you can share your name, the company you're representing, the current stage and priority that you have. So others have a sense of that. So I'm just going to move around the mic.
Yeah, hello all. My name is Sumant, and I'm representing a firm called GV Mall. It's basically a retail store. We sell everything that is related to garments and all. So each of the store has around 20,000 square feet. And right now, our brand has 15 stores, but the cluster we are using it. And we are looking forward to implement it in each and every level of our organization. Yeah, thank you.
Reddy, and I am a retailer working for more than 25 years. We're associated with major companies like Metro, Reliance, Future Group, and currently with Reliance into operations, taking care of their smart stores and signature stores. So more so caters into value retailing as well as the premium retailing, that's the signature stores. These days we find very choosy customers, very specific and target oriented. So that's all. Thank you very much.
From Sri Krishna Sales. We are all based out of Hyderabad. We have currently 6 stores. Our USP is to bring out exclusive Kanjivarams and all varieties of silks from all around the country and serve. Yeah, thank you.
Hi everyone.
Hi, my name is Samrat and I represent a brand called Drunken Monkey. Drunken Monkey is a cafe which sells smoothies instead of coffee or tea. So our vision is to do to smoothies what Starbucks did to coffee. We are just one person there, 99 steps to go.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Avnish, and I represent Medicare Galaxy. We are a pharma retail company. We have currently 2 stores, and hoping to expand a lot more in the coming years.
Yeah, hi. Very good evening. This is Govardhan Reddy here, CEO and co-founder of Skandanshi Retail Private Limited. Under this, we operate a brand name called Beauty and Nutri. So we are a one-stop inner and outer beauty concept. And our brand name, earlier it was Beauty and Beyond. So we had to change this to Beauty and Nutri. And we operate 25 stores across Bangalore, Chennai and Hyderabad. Our headquarters based out of Gachibowli. And thank you and happy to meet everyone here.
Hello everyone, I'm Jagati and I'm also part of Skandanshi Retail. And currently I'm a director of Skandanshi Retail. Yeah, I'm also doing my BBA and also being involved into the business as my dad is the founder of the company. So today I'm here, glad to be here with you all. Thank you.
Going omni-channel, so we have launched our first store in Assam, Guwahati. So very new to the retail space, but yeah, D2C is what we are doing. We are the first plant-based supplements brand of the India. We are 4 years old, and we are also present in Australia, US, and New Zealand. So online we are doing business over there, but retail is the first thing. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Soma. I'm from Fabo Services. We are into laundry and dry cleaning franchisee chain system. So we do have around 50 plus stores in Pan India, main in Hyderabad, in Mumbai, and Delhi, UP, Agartala, all these locations. And we are planning to expand 500 plus stores in Pan India next 3 years. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. I think with this you'll have a good sense of who's who. Maybe more people come in, we'll see if we can introduce them as they come. I'd just like to start the conversation because a lot of the brands I see here are in early stages of growth or going through a growth spurt. So I'd like to start the conversation with you, Samrat, and decide that, okay, I am now ready for scale. And what are the symptoms which one should watch out for that, okay, if I don't handle this, I may fall flat when I scale, because that's also a very common problem and very less talked about problem in retail.
See, for my company and what experiences I had, like I actually did a lot of my schooling and college, like 16 years in Chennai, and I'm very close to Bangalore as well as the city. But this is my hometown. My parents are from here. But I still chose Hyderabad to start Drunken Monkey because my first year was mainly going to be about getting the model right. And a place like Chennai and Bangalore, if it's something good, people copy it very fast. Hyderabad, they wouldn't do it. So that's one of the reasons I started here. At the same time, the moment I felt I was ready was when I got my the structure and the operations everything to be going right. After that, we kind of expanded rapidly in Chennai and Bangalore. And there is no right time for that because see, once you start an idea and if it's going to work, if you don't do it fast, someone else will do it. So it's about knowing when's the right time for you to finish, be confident enough that operationally you're ready. But after that, you shouldn't wait. You shouldn't be like, okay, I'm only 80% there, I'm only 70% there. Let me get 100% because you're never going to get 100%. That's what was my experience in what I did. Whether it worked or not, only time will say.
Soma, you've already been through some amount of scale too, and I could see from your website you're also looking at a multi-state setup. So any experiences you'd like to share?
So the major problem is for us in operations and a labor part. So our segment is in a service industry, right? So the problem is major is SME. So what we did for initial 1.5 year, we cannot able to figure it out how to start and where to start this segment. So once we scale up, then we can understand the major problem in service industry is labor. So what we did 6 months back, we set up an academy in Hyderabad. We are sourcing the people from UP and Bihar, freshers from there, paying 8,000 rupees and accommodation for them. And what we are doing, 15 days or 20 days training in the laundry and dry cleaning segment. Then we are placing the people respect to store where we are opening. So that kind of activity we started recently from last 6 months. Now we are scaling up the things. The thing is, it's related with the two things. One is the people and the other one is the technology. If you use these two things, definitely we can able to scale the things very easily in this segment. Any segment I'm talking about, but specifically technology is a more key role over here.
I think that's an interesting one, and I think we've seen that happening in the salon industry too, which is probably closer when it comes to the labor aspect. It's people services being sold, so yeah, that's also an academy-driven route. Johan, any experiences you'd like to share?
But as the gentleman have said, it's your people that have to be very well trained. So we had an experience last year. We opened 8 stores in 2 months. Across 3 states. And then we found that our current operations suddenly struggled because some people were deployed to opening the stores rather than running the locations that were the original KPIs. So then what we realized is you have to set your processes first. Do the test, then only kind of accelerate. Otherwise, you will have a lot of struggles. And when you hire new people, if you don't give them the adequate amount of time, you'll have a lot of frictions between the new people and the old people as well. So that was one big learning. Of course, technology is very, very important. But the soft aspect, which is the people, I think that's more important to kind of deal with first. Get your SOPs, get your training, then go ahead and press the accelerator full-fledged.
Anyone else would like to share any experiences from personal scale-up?
Yeah, so we are yet to scale in a bigger way. But yeah, from our first store to second store, we casually did it in the family-run business way. As Johan said, we need SOPs to be done and a good structure to be built. So from our second store, we took almost 6 years to bring it to the third. And then in the last 2 years, we opened 4 stores. So SOPs, I believe, are a strong thing which would run the show, and monitoring them as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone else who's looking at some questions?
So recently we expanded our operations. Basically, it was a 1,200 square feet store first. Then we expanded it to a 3,000 square feet store, the existing store itself. But then as the staff got more trained, what happened is 3 people, one who handled procurement, one who handled WhatsApp orders, and one who handled purchases and accounts. 3 people left altogether and they started their own store. So does employee training them, giving them the means to understand industry, helping them grow, become a problem for us as well? Because the attrition and the availability of resources nowadays is so high, people tend to have their mindset, okay, let me start something of my own. So this becomes a problem as well when you train the staff too much, or I mean, you have to either pay them a lot or just bear the problems.
So even we have this problem. So what we kind of did in the last 2-3 years is we tried to dummy down all the roles where there is not any important role. Like for example, if there's one important role, we would dummy down into 4 people. I mean, sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. And then have a lot of new employees come in every 2-3 months. We keep training them with very low salaries to do certain roles, even if we have people. And in that way, we try to retain the important roles to about 4 or 5 people on top. I mean, the important decision-making roles, and try to pay them really well. And the others trying to keep it very lean. And that mid-segment we took off. That mid-segment was a place where we had the maximum. That's what we did. It's working. Like maybe like not as efficiently as that one, but at least we don't have problems of this breakage of at least when 3-4 people leave and then you're lost what to do.
I think I'll share, because having worked with so many companies, I've actually seen this scenario play out multiple times. And there is this question of how much to train and, when to stop. I think one of the formulae I've seen working well is, so you see a lot of startups out there, especially once they get funding, they'll hire so many IITians and IIM guys. Yeah. And getting them to work is a different challenge altogether. So one thing that really works well is define people into strategic and execution roles. And the strategic roles are the thinkers, a handful of people who bring that caliber and who are that close and aware of everything, the formula, so to say. And separate the execution roles, where, as he rightly says, dumb it down, that there is an SOP, just follow it. And yeah, to my mind, what you rightly said, putting the SOPs down so that that role is so dumbed down that you don't need to train too much. And it's more about just execution of that SOP becomes interesting. You wanted to share something?
No, that's a
okay.
I have a question. How do you guys get people to follow the SOPs? I'm finding that is the biggest challenge.
I don't think there's an answer to that.
This is a very India-specific problem. In fact, there's an anecdote. So there's a gentleman called Eric Haskell I had the luck of working with. Eric was the managing director of Adidas India, and then we also worked with him when we executed Wooqer at Under Armour, Greater China. And he shared a very interesting anecdote that when I first came to India, I was so happy. He's an American who has worked in US, Europe, and China and India. Yahan pe, when you walk into a room, you say something, people get it. In 5 minutes, everyone gets everything. And then I realized that doesn't mean that they'll do it. And if you go in China, they'll take 1 month to get it. But the minute they get it, it's impossible to change that behavior then. So yeah, that's a very, very, very India-specific thing. Everyone is smart. everyone wants to use their own mind, and we can have any number of SOPs, but people want to do what they want to do. But yeah, if anyone wants to share how you're getting people to follow.
I think as everyone mentioned, in terms of people, I think we should look at two aspects. One, the back end and the front end. I think more to connect with front end, what we are discussing today. Three things. One, on the people, technology and process. People, what we did is actually we are a 2 years old brand, and within 1.5 years we were able to open 25 stores, and our attrition is 1.5% right now. We've looked at basic of one, hiring a right talent. But it's definitely challenging right now, and it's going to be in the future as well. So what we've looked at is the right talent, the training, and also in terms of the benefits. In particularly retail industry, what we've looked at is providing the health insurance policy for parents to take care of it, because that has really helped us in terms of to pitch in with most of the ground level team. That has really helped staying back, and also. In terms of uniformity, like if I was being the CEO, for me also the same, and even ground level person who's housekeeping person also the same of sum assured amount what we've come up. Like if I'm getting 5 lakhs is the sum assured amount, even our ground level person also will get the same assured amount. So that has really helped on that. And second thing, in terms of the incentive structure, because these people, like we all think that we can save a lot of money by cutting the salaries or incentives for the front end Salesforce team, but I think that is the wrong way of looking at it. Like you should not have ifs and buts. You should have a straight simple incentive structure that really entice them to enjoy the work on them, because it's not going to be easy working on the ground, as we all know about it. That's one thing. And for a back end, for key positions, what we did was more like as soon as we know that our business model concept is ready and we are ready to roll it out, we came up as a ESOP pool for a key talent. So we allocated 5% ESOP allocations for the key people, like for a retail head and for IT head, HR function head or L&D and even merchandising head. So that has really helped us to reach here, because we have opened 25 stores now, and we have signed 15 more across the locations where we are operating currently, and we are planning to enter even northern market by end of this year, October to December quarter. I think these 2-3 things have really helped. And initially, after opening 8 to 10 stores, immediately we focused on technology, as Som said. So we've signed SAP as technology, because we wanted to scale up in a big way. So that is also it took almost for us 10 to 12 months to stabilize. Like as one of our friends said, it took 4 years or 5 years to open, from second stores to remaining 4 stores. We have just also kept on hold for after 8 to 10 stores. Now then we have opened, the stores back to back after taking off all this technology piece and everything. Yeah. Thank you.
So adding to one more point, in this segment, if you hold the people, we cannot able to control it all.
Here, because we have opened 25 stores now, and we have signed 15 more across the locations where we are operating currently, and we are planning to enter even northern market by end of this year, October to December quarter. I think these 2-3 things have really helped. And initially, after opening 8 to 10 stores, immediately we focused on technology, as Som said. So we've signed SAP as technology, because we wanted to scale up in a big way. So that is also it took almost for us 10 to 12 months to stabilize. Like as one of our friends said, it took 4 years or 5 years to open, from second stores to remaining 4 stores. We have just also kept on hold for after 8 to 10 stores. Now then we have opened, the stores back to back after taking off all this technology piece and everything. Yeah. Thank you.
So adding to one more point, in this segment, if you hold the people, we cannot able to control it all. So in this segment, competitors are more, right? So other teams are giving around 20 or 25,000. So we cannot hold the people, but how to retain the people is one of the best thing you said. policy. What we are giving accidental policy for them. They will roam entire on roads, right? So for them, we are giving 10 lakhs accidental benefit. We are tied with one of the banker. So apart from that, one thing I would say, 2 years from now, this brand started. All we are into IT segment. I work for Dell Technologies as a Salesforce consultant. Or 4 people from IT. So each one lead one segment. So I take care about sales part. So other person take about operations, digital, and post sales support. So each one having working and sailing in the 2 boats. But if you are leading any segment, one person should be a strong leadership required to take care of end-to-end solutions. Otherwise, any brand cannot move forward after 3 years. That's the one thing. And one thing, technology is saying we are using a CRM software for capturing the leads. One thing is for us, we have a 2 kind of things. One is generating a leads, B2B leads, a franchisee. Another one, to sustain the franchisee, we need to generate a local leads. So one of the major thing is in this segment is the digital marketing. It will bleed for any startup company. If you go for any digital these things, minimum expenditure comes around 6 lakhs to 7 lakhs per month if you're doing a pan India. So the major aspect, any startup company look into that is digital marketing. So let's get a little bit control on the digital marketing. Then you can step into the outside. Otherwise, it will bleed like anything.
Anyone else wants to share any experiences?
The same problem, how we tackled is basically incentives, but we have a discipline of variable. That variable we process on every 7th, and we have a set follows. So that's how the frontline team also, who is there, and the manager who is managing those team, they're able to deliver it. So I think that's one of the one thing which worked for us, where we have close to 80 employees here. We are manufacturing a manufacturer also. So same applies in production, same applies in distribution, same applies in supply chain, and also the retail store, since we have only 3 people over there in the store. So that I cannot comment right now, but this has been working very effectively for call center employees as well. So across all the verticals, as long as we are paying the salaries on 30 and releasing the incentive, the 30% after evaluating. It's little bit tedious, but this works. Maybe you guys can try. And so I have one more question. Once we scale up, so basically how you guys are looking at profitability of each and every store, since we have just started in that store, but we have expanded in other countries. That's digital. But how a store level profitability impacts in scaling up? That's one thing which I want to ask you guys.
Anyone wants to answer that for him?
You have to treat each store as a SBU, right? And it has to be profitable at its own level first, before it can take care of head office costs. But you always go in with a business plan that you need 20 to 25% minimum margin from that particular store to even absorb, say, 10% of head office costs. And assuming 10 to 15% is what we have to live with in this day and age. You cannot be higher than that. But you should target for 20-25% of gross without the head office costs.
It's a company operated or franchisee?
Assuming it is company. Franchisee, of course, there are different models. You have your FOCOs where you get rev share for the franchisee, or you have the franchisee operating where they will take a majority of the chunk of the revenue. But assuming it is COCO, that is what you should be going in thinking that, yes, it won't work in the first 3 to 6 months. You will take 6 months to understand the market. For us, we have 5,000 or 4,000 SKUs in each store. So understanding which works and which does not work. But after 3 to 4 months of running, then you should definitely target and have the incentive structure, everything in place for a 25% minimum. Then only you know that the model is scalable, per se.
Anyone else wants to share any personal experience?
Follow-up question on that. So, you're at, let's say, 8-10% or 5%, just breaking even. So how do you decide whether to relocate that store, close that store, or maybe open a smaller store somewhere else? So how do you take that decision, and usually what should be the timeline for that?
It's all dependent on your repetitive business mode. So you need to look into that, what is kind of a repetitive business you are happening for per month. Based on that, it should be, think about that. Your repetitive business should be more than 60%. Otherwise, you can't sustain in long run. So you need to concentrate only in the repetitive business. New leads is a something different concept altogether, but your sustainability to run the operations income, 60% is the mandatory in the segment, in retail segment.
This was news to me too.
Maybe in your industry more so. Yeah. We don't get that high. 60%. Our thing maybe 20 to 25 is
No, 60% is the thumb rule.
So otherwise
it
your
depends on
operations.
That's
depends on the aging of your business or the store. Okay, so suppose if the store, like if you say that it has got matured, like 12 months, 18 months or 20 months, but the thumb rule is 60%. Otherwise, seriously, because you cannot generate your new customers in the current competitive world.
It's a costing for you more to get that thing.
So I guess what is hired by our company, we decided to go primarily more in malls to get that higher amount of footfall. Again, we are a more impulse purchase, not a planned purchase. You don't get up in the morning and think I want to buy fashion jewelry. You walk into it to the mall and then madam would say that, oh, this matches my outfit.
people like me.
So I guess, yeah, in a high street for sure you need a higher percentage of repeat for sure, because you're limited to the catchment of that high street, maybe 3-4 kilometers, maybe 5 at max. But a mall, what happens is you get different sort of customers coming in for different reasons, and then you can have that complementary kind of purchase.
No,
And
in
how do you retarget those things? So basically you need to
You use digital marketing.
Yeah.
digital
WhatsApp,
marketing,
WhatsApp,
and
Plus, and
so that's the, every 15 days you need to run that one. Taking that you need to run that campaigns.
So not only that, just adding to it, suppose whether you are in a standalone store or a mall store, there will be some difference. Okay, so in terms of your footfall to the bill conversion and as well as even your repeat customers as well, what we would look at is our footfall conversion will be higher on the standalone stores, whereas in the mall stores it will be lower. Anywhere it will be 10-15% or even 20% lower. The same way even your repeat customers as well. Even though you are in the mall, depends on the mall or the location where you are present. So definitely there also you need to have a repeat customers. Because mall, the consumer comes today, because I know that every month I'll be, so at least you should have even 30 to 40% in the mall. Like depends on the aging of the store or your, the business model.
So the problem with our segment, right? F&B in general.
Can you just introduce yourself to the group first? I think we missed
I'm so
you
sorry.
in the initial
I'm
introduction.
Akash. I run a company. We are into momos and baos. So we run a brand called Zomos. Predominantly, we are operating at this point in South. So we have Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, a couple of tier 2 cities in Mysore and Bangalore. So we operate these 5 cities at this point. Smaller outlet, so 100 to 200 square feet outlets, a few outlets in malls. So we operate all formats: cloud kitchen, retail, mall kiosk, high street, inside a few corporates as well. So Deloitte, Amazon, this thing. So this is. I was actually saying that in our stream of business, the challenge is we don't get customer data from Swiggy, Zomato. So it's very tough to judge. So they'll tell you what is your repeat rate month on month, which is, for example, for our brand, it is 32% month on month. We wouldn't get the vintage repeat rate. So that calls become really tough for us as a F&B company, whether to relocate or stay at the same place. So that was the question.
Can I answer that question, please?
Everyone, this is Rahul from Makersore Milkshakes. I'm the founder of Makersore Milkshakes. We do have stores across India. Before COVID, we opened few stores in US and Dubai as well. We are into franchise segment. Most of us our stores are franchisee-owned stores. So even we face that particular headache. Like most of the sales before COVID, it was 60% store sale and 40% used to be online sale. But now it is 70% online, 30% store sale, which is very tough to handle the stores. But still, as we are having loyal customers, our brand is 11 years old brand. Wherever we are opening stores, there are good decent number of walk-ins coming into the store. But in some of the cases, let's take an example. If you are opening 10 stores, 1 or 2 stores are not performing well. What we do is like, we look at for 6 months, we give good time for whatever efforts we have to keep, we'll keep it for 6 months. And then again, reevaluate if it is not working. Because every property will be giving a contract of 11 months, we'll be waiting for that particular time. If it's still not doing well, we'll wind up that particular store. If it is break even, I mean like we are not incurring any loss. So there, whatever investment we are putting in for interiors and equipment, it is once after removing there, it is pointless. It doesn't give any single rupee to us also. So what we do, if it is not incurring any loss, it is doing break even. So we'll put little bit more effort and make sure that the sale gets increased. And if you are getting a minimal profit also, we'll keep running that particular store. But if a store which is running in losses, once after giving good time, we'll close that particular store. That is what we are doing. And as of now, we are running around 100 stores. So this is what we have done for our brand.
In fact, in one earlier session, one of the interesting bite I heard from one brand was, also consider, is the store also a potential marketing? Like there are brands which will have a store in specific locations, like an airport kind of a location. As long as it breaks even and it's not a cost, imagine it's free marketing. Because you have that physical presence there through the year. If you had to buy a hoarding or something to put up in a high visibility location, it would cost money. This is, in a way, free because it's breaking even. So that's another way to look at it.
The big giants like Reliance and all the big giants, they have multiple stores that like stores are working or not. I think it's just marketing, like you said.
Oh, I think that's a much larger story. But since we're talking about this, I think this is an interesting subject that's likely to strike a chord with everyone. How do you turn a store around if it's not doing well? Are there examples you'd like to share? Like one example I heard from one brand was that with our stores, we cut down targets. We cut down targets drastically, and just enough required for breaking even. We cut down the targets to that, but we increased the incentives. And that was an eye-opener for me. Can removing targets, because now you're no longer working because someone is telling you to. You're working because you want to make money. And this brand says that they have actually doubled sales. They have stores which were like doing really badly or closer to becoming amongst the top performers for smaller store sizes for their brand. But do you have any examples of things that you have done that helped you increase sales, turn around any stores?
I have any different experiences. Yeah, so I said about our second store, right? We didn't have the SOPs, and then we are on the verge to close it down. Then finding a store in a market like Kukatpalli, it's one of the prime area here, and we are located in middle of the market. We really didn't want to close down. Like all our friends who are like into business asking for this store. If you are not running, give it to me. So I thought, why are we going wrong? Then we changed the complete team there. Their morals were down. We changed the product structure there, and then we have kept proper incentive structures in place, and then keep our experience team from the previous store there to monitor it continuously, and then we were successful. Now it's one of the leading store for us.
So team change along with the product.
Yeah.
Change.
Product addition and monitoring it continuously.
So mine is completely FOFO model, franchise not franchise operated. My bracket start with the 25 lakhs of investment, and with that the operation amount per month is around 1.5 lakh with the salaries, rental and everything. So basically my top store in Hyderabad, Kokapet, costing around 6.5 lakh per month. It will generate 6.5 lakh per month. The bottom store is in Biramguda. It's generating 70K per month. So the challenge part is here. One is the franchisee owner supposed to be at the store at least for 6 months. Then only he can able to understand the business and understand the problems and the operation on this part. That part is missing from Biramguda store, and he all dependent on the store manager. So one of the major thing is he cannot pick the calls, okay, and other thing is in that store manager will perform as a store manager role and a washerman, so dual role. So to cut down the costing, franchisee owner, asking us to dual role this part. So we identified that one where we are actually lagging about the franchisee performance part. So he cannot able to talk, other than Telugu language calls. So that is one of the things. So we said these is the parameters. If you can able to increase this one, at least we can go by around 30 to 40,000 extra per month. Then eventually it will grow. So any segment, it will grow as an organic way, right? So it will need a customer base for every segment. So it will take an organic growth in that. Then only you can able to build the billing for that. So last month we told 70K last month. This month it will increase to 1.05. Sales got increased for 35,000. And leads part also we are generating from online. We are putting more money in that particular location. So leads also generating more from that location. And we are telling proactively retarget the existing customers. Then you can get a repetitive business from the customer. That's the one point we'll know.
My sincere apologies that I happened to drop in late.
Introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Sheetal Patil. I had a ice cream retail company by name Creamstone Concepts, quite popular in Hyderabad and the southern part of it. I'm a veteran in this industry for the last 22 years, I guess. Prior to that, I was heading operations for Cafe Coffee Day, and prior to that, I was head of a healthcare firm. So here I am building Creamstone, and amongst all of you. Thank you.
I think we use a 4P formula, like place, people, like when though we may say that choosing the location, whether you are in a Banjara Hills, whether you are in a AS Rao Nagar, or whether you are in a Biramguda, so you should definitely have your assortment according to the market. That's one key thing for consumer to bring in there and have a repeat customers. And people plays key role because the store manager, or what we call it as store director, it's key in terms of taking care of store, day-to-day hygiene, or welcoming the customer, or providing that kind of experience. And from the day one, what we see is like all our stores rated as 4.9 right now on our GMB. These are all organic, and we don't force any consumer. And it's been 18,000 plus ratings have been done across all our stores. That's what we take care of. So that is the ownership and responsibility what we made it. That's the first KRA or KPA, what we call it as, for a store manager or store director. I think these things are key for us. Like placement definitely, being as a business development or the business head. We take that call, depends on various factor. We do some store assessment model and everything. Then after that, if it is not working, yes, we'll have to take a call, as a friend said, like if it is 6 months or 12 months, depends on the category or nature of business you are into. Yeah.
So adding to that,
Thanks.
what we do for every pickup, store manager for 10 rupees for a review for the customer, and Google review from pickup boy. So if you practice this one, at least I will get a good numbers in quality of these things. Leads will get in Google search.
Any other examples anyone wants to share? Okay. We were talking about personal examples of how a brand may have turned around a store that was not performing.
At least one store which is not performing. We have the stores running even in the midnight.
Can't relate to the problem statement.
One thing I can quote, see, we have one satellite Mufassil area by name. And technically we did not know the product was the same, everything was the same, the deliverables, most of it. But having said that, most of the things can be like your service, all those things can come first. But the first important thing is that stock and stuff. These two important aspects, if they are maintained well, we did not do any rocket science in that store. Ensure that every stock is available round the clock all the time, and we have proper staffing. And repairs and maintenance, though it is considered as the last part of it, because mostly it is very thankless. So we maintained the required hygiene, staff, and stock. I think 6 months down the lane, the store which was doing just around 8 to 10 lakhs, currently we do around 24, 25 lakhs out there. So I think that's one immediate turnaround as a point I can do. Yes, we do have some similar success stories in Bangalore, couple of our stores. Franchisee operated and some things did not go right, and when we took over it almost doubled up. That doesn't mean that we add some rocket science into that. It is the same core basic principles: stock, staff, equipments, cleanliness and hygiene, and a smile on the staff's face. That's what it requires.
Yeah, just to add to that, we started identifying locations where you could have late night sales. That slot from say 11 to 2 a.m. our sales doubled literally for a few places like again AS Rao Nagar, Tarnaka, Sun City, those places. So that was also a big learning. Obviously, again, not always possible to run late night operations again now because of the elections and everything. But that is one short way, at least in the food industry, to kind of improve same stores growth. Yeah.
I'll just bring one point we heard in the last session that we had in Chennai. And Charat, who's the managing director of Indian Terrain, had brought this point, and we had a huge discussion around the franchisee model per se. And because I hear a lot of people talking about that, the one very interesting insight that came was ki, get franchisees not for their money, but because they are willing to invest time in the business. They are willing to get in the store. And I think I heard the Creamstone founder out of Bombay have the same, that the mandate is, if you are not going to stand in the store or sit in the store, I don't want you as my partner. Money I can get many ways. So that was one big insight from that. And the second was, hire the store manager yourself, but pay the salary through the franchisee. But you choose the store manager, you decide the salary as the brand, but let the franchisee pay it so that it comes across as. But because you are getting the right to choose the right store manager, and that's the single most important person in the store. So I thought that was a very interesting. When you wanted to say something, Sheetal?
I mean, though we did a little bit of a course correction, that of course we do function now on all the 3 to 4 formats. That's FICO, that is franchisee invested and company operated model. I think that's a success story we've been able to write for quite some time now. That's, we take the investment from the franchisee, but company operate the stores. So that's one good formula which has come out well, and it is shaping up well for us. We added up in the smaller towns of Praduttur, we added up in Karimnagar. So this formula has been doing well. Second is, wherever franchises we are giving, that we make it a point to tell now that it cannot be a passive income. The person whosoever is going to operate will have to operate. That has to be the bread and butter for that person. Second is, he cannot stand himself on the cashiering and he cannot himself run the store. He has to hire a professional staff. Only then I think we will be, and then we added lot of layers into that: structural calls, meetings, artworks and other things will have to go from the company. Left, right and center, every individual, every franchisee will have his own. Nowadays, at least the social media channels and other things, you cannot stop. Every customer who comes in, he will create a own handle that it's a Creamstone Karimnagar, Creamstone so and so. You cannot put a taboo on that one. Having said that, whatever the artwork, content and creatives are going, and wherever he wants to go set up shop, at least in the QSR format, in outdoor caterings or wherever he intends to go, we say that all the artworks and everything, the final go ahead has to come from the brand. So once that we started, I think we are still in the school on that particular parameter, but nonetheless we are reaching there. So that's one thing.
Interesting.
Okay. So I have one question. How do you go about, now this is for most of the history, how do you go about picking the right location? What is the factors that you look at?
Sir, it also depends on, sorry, I'm just sir, in different retail formats works quite well. I know UK and beyond is that the heavy, thick residential catchment. See, for me, I have worked in being there in the cafe, pizza, and in the ice cream segments. each product has its own thing. So for example, ice cream is a very peculiar thing in the sense like coffee is an impulse, food is a hunger, ice cream is a luxury. So these are three different quotients. So you don't have to think beyond a particular point that, I mean, you are going, you want to have a smoke, you just go rush there and have a quick cup of coffee. Food is driven by your hunger quotient. You want to, okay, then you have some liberty of time, luxury, and your wallet is full, then you pick and choose which brand I need to go. Ice creams come much later. It is when the first two quotients are met. So then for me, it becomes imperative that I need to see where the restaurants are there, where Akash is there, where Zomos are there, where all the other, where there is an ecosystem which exists. So then I can go there and set up shop. So that's one thing. Second one is the timing plays an important role. As I said, ice cream, the craving tends to happen. I mean, nobody, I mean, except for the new age phenomena of depression, eating chocolate ice cream and things like that. Beyond that, our cravings are beyond post-lunch, post-dinner, things like that. So that time frame, during that time frame, if I'm able to extend couple of hours at that beat, that's one of the reasons we strive to keep beat in Coimbatore, beat in Vellore we opened yesterday. The biggest thing is that how fast or how much later we can shut the shop. So that plays a key important role, whether be it I'm inside or outside. Now, as far as coffee and other retail is concerned, you need to see that whether the shop will be catering to all the timelines of the day, so that you have a thorough walk-in throughout the day. Many a times what happens is people tend to get carried away. Just a couple of days back, I was there in Pune. Everybody talked so much of Balewadi High Street. I know most of you are from retail only. Three places are happening in Pune. That's your Koregaon Park, your Baner, and a couple of other places. Balewadi High Street is, it's a phenomena in India that 10:30 you go, the entire retail is empty, dead empty. But then you realize that what happens is that, no, weekend you see, and the person is quoting around 200 rupees a square feet kind of a rental, or the weekend you see. See, cricket matches, we are a heavily infatuated cricket infatuated nations. You don't win the matches by, fours and sixes. It's ones and twos which win the game. So throughout the day, throughout the week consists 4 days, weekend consists only 2 days. So throughout the day where we have the footfall, throughout, whether be it weekday, weekend, that kind of footfall, at least that area should be able to cater to. Third important thing is that stay away from the area where immediately where there is a mall which is going to spring up. If the mall comes up out there, the high street gets killed. And late in the night, and there has to be a thick mix of residential catchment, also office catchment, also schools, colleges. Schools and colleges are very important because if you are thinking of setting up a shop there, your immediate, the immediate agreement would be for around 9 years. So technically you are catering to one generation in that time frame of that agreement. So catch them young, watch them grow. I mean, like you are catering to almost a kid who is there in his first or 10th, in the 10th standard. Probably he will be there, as presumably he'll be there, he will have to grow. Then there is an aspirational public which is there. 4 or 5 years back, those people would not be able to afford your product. But 4 or 5 years down the lane, they would aspire to come and visit your place. So these are hindsights which you will have to keep on looking. And also scalability. If there is a small shop which you have, then now your aspirations is there. Now let me take a 600 square feet. Fortunately, if I want to expand it a little bit much later, because you would have developed a certain amount of goodwill in being there in that area. So whether I can expand in that vicinity. Parking is another major issue which is coming up. It's a hindrance, but there are 10 people, in the outlet. Now you have 10 cars coming in out there. So parking is another major thing. Cinema houses, places which generate that kind of a thing. Stay away from places if there are lawyers. Stay away from places if there are judges' bungalows. Stay away from places if there is a police station nearby. stay away from those kind of area, because you are inviting trouble. For knowingly or unknowingly, you will invite trouble. So this is a pure market. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't run away from the fact. So that's about it.
No one is here in the
But isn't it the fact?
In fact, there are so many formulae to this, and I've heard so many of them from different formats. Like the gentleman who built Spar in India, shared that early days, one of the formula they cracked was that during visits to the market, they would look for whether there is a smaller car, whether there are a lot of small, bright colored cars in the locality. The idea being, the first car is usually a sober color, and then you buy a sedan, which is possibly a sober color, and then you buy a second car, and that's usually a flashy color. So if you see a lot of small cars which are in flashy colors, that's usually a sign that there is a lot of double income households, 2 working people. And if you see a lot of thelawalas selling exotic fruits like grapes and apples, which are more expensive, as against the cart guys selling the cheaper fruits. And in the evening, is the cart empty or full? So very interesting formulae people have come up with, or some brands have looked at, go to markets where which are destinations for that product. Like Metro launched mochi because they needed people, they wanted to be the destination, or ABFRL group, all the shirt ranges, whichever shirt you buy, chances are it will be Aditya Birla only. So created competition for self and opening all stores together in the same locality, wherever possible, so that you, by default, if you enter one market, you enter with, becoming a destination, and which is possibly one of the reasons so many brands of the same type open up in the same place. And food courts are so popular when it comes to food, because all options get addressed. They usually do go together.
4 stores open at this time.
Indus League usually rented a single property, and then they would open all the 5 brands within, because you just become the destination. Ki wahan sare hain, let's go there. So yeah, interesting one. But last,
just to add that, in terms of identifying, I think we should also keep watching the growing areas in the particular metro cities or T2, 2, 3, because no longer to be there in same Banjara Hills or Jubilee Hills or no, definitely yes, for a brand recall you might be, but there are growing areas. Like what we did is, like 1.5 years back, we wanted to take it as a strategic approach towards the West Hyderabad. So we wanted to have our presence somewhere around 6 to 8 stores. Like right now we were able to open 5, but still we are on a scout, like in terms of Kajaguda, in terms of Kokapet or Manikunda, so that we completely, dominate that. Tomorrow any competitor comes also, they have to come with bit expensive, and it will take some time for, to take that market share or whatever. This also, I think, being as retailer, we should have a, eye watch in terms of which are the pockets which are growing. And also if you are like moving, it's a early mover advantage, and also your rentals location, as Seetal said, in terms of the parking, because that's going to be key in terms of the standalone stores. I think this might be one key thing, to be looked at. Yeah, thanks.
We are running out of time on the sit-down session. We'll continue once we have coffee. But one last question. I was very curious. I don't know how relevant you will find it, but I'm very curious. As I was looking at many of your sites, I found it was all about a lot of options, like a lot of smoothies, 200 plus smoothie options, or, in saris, number of sari options and type options. When do you say more than this choice will prevent the customer from buying? How do you make the decision that where to stop?
So for us, especially having 200 smoothies in Drunken Monkey is not to sell 200 smoothies. It's more a branding thing. We want to sell about 7 to 10 smoothies. So I think it's the same for and most people who have a lot of options. See, we have a lot of options to tell people that something you like is here. After they come, we don't want to confuse them with all the smoothies. We would try to see what are the 7 or 8 smoothies we want to sell and sell that. So it's more a branding thing.
When it comes to clothes and saris, how do you decide, okay, we don't want more than these many options?
Coming to the stocking part, though we keep all the patterns and all, but majorly the major sale comes from the 20 patterns.
Might be. But there are growing areas. Like what we did is, like 1.5 years back, we wanted to take it as a strategic approach towards the West Hyderabad. So we wanted to have our presence somewhere around 6 to 8 stores. Like right now we were able to open 5, but still we are on a scout, like in terms of Kajaguda, in terms of Kokapet, Manikunda, so that we completely, dominate that. Tomorrow any competitor comes also, they have to come with bit expensive, and it will take some time for to take that market share or whatever. This also, I think, being as retailer, we should have a eye watch in terms of which are the pockets which are growing, and also if you are like moving, it's a early mover advantage, and also your rentals location, as Seetal said, in terms of the parking, because that's going to be key in terms of the standalone stores. I think this might be one key thing to be looked at. Yeah, thanks.
We are running out of time on the sit-down session. We'll continue once we have coffee. But one last question. I was very curious. I don't know how relevant you will find it, but I'm very curious. As I was looking at many of your sites, I found it was all about a lot of options, like a lot of smoothies, 200 plus smoothie options, or, in saris, number of sari options and type options. When do you say more than this choice will prevent the customer from buying? How do you make the decision that where to stop?
So for us, especially having 200 smoothies in Drunken Monkey is not to sell 200 smoothies. It's more a branding thing. We want to sell about 7 to 10 smoothies. So I think it's the same for and most people who have a lot of options. See, we have a lot of options to tell people that something you like is here. After they come, we don't want to confuse them with all the smoothies. We would try to see what are the 7 or 8 smoothies we want to sell and sell that. So it's more a branding thing.
When it comes to clothes and saris, how do you decide, okay, we don't want more than these many options?
Coming to the stocking part, though we keep all the patterns and all, but majorly the major sale comes from the 20 patterns. It's for grabbing the customer inside. And the second thing is like coming to the turnarounds. While we turn around the stock and all, we'll be having a bit of analysis that which is okay and which should be discontinued and which to be continued. So based on that, if it gives an average turnarounds, we'll keep on continuing them. If at all, we'll be cutting it. That's what.
Yeah, so the fast selling products are always there. That's the main set of the things. Rest all the things would keep recurring. So they keep changing as per the trend, and some Instagram reel comes out and people would come for that. So that if we keep that in place, then the client walks in.
Like
so
to
keep that.
Alia Bhatt sari.
Yeah. So a lot of those things come up, but end of the day, as Samrat said, the main set of the products would sell. That's the main 80% of the business. Rest all would follow.
The Pareto system is that 80-20, but in the online business it becomes more of a Pareto, where maybe 10% of your SKUs give you 80 to 90% of your sales, specifically marketplaces and your website. But you need to have that as a fashion business. It's a cost of doing business to have some sort of selection. Nobody likes going to an empty store saying, I'm going to buy a white color shirt or I'm going to buy a rose gold necklace set, but I do want to see the other options. So they did this kind of exercise. They gave one boy a choice, free shirt. You can only pick from one shirt, you can only pick from 100 shirts, and you can only pick from 20 shirts. He's not happy from the 1:100, not happy from 1:1. He's happy to have 1 out of 20. That means I had a choice, but not too much of a choice. So getting that is important, but you have to do your science, that you do it slowly. Like if I have 1,000 SKUs, what is my sale? If I have 2,000 SKUs, what is my sale? And that diminishing returns happens after that. You have to figure that out. It's different for each industry, I'm assuming, but Pareto is very, very important in fashion, at least for all of us in the fashion game.
By and large, it remains the same. I mean, like even in ice creams also, if you see 10 years back, it was like all flavors select. I mean, we were all fed with chocolate, butterscotch, vanilla, strawberry. I mean, there was 80% of the consumption of the frozen dessert or ice cream happens in chocolate now. At least, I mean, more and more. It was 60-40 earlier. Now it is 80% of that thing is this one. If you move into the coffee industry, of all the plethora of things, what Starbucks offers, what CCD offers, what Third Wave offers, it's cappuccino and the black coffee which runs the highest. I think it's more of a choice. I mean, the rest also has to be there. And all the brands put together, they advertise so much on food. The cafe industry orders so much on food. They get this kind of sandwich, that kind. The maximum any cafe industry has been able to crack the food code is between 28 to 30%. 65 to 70% is beverages only. And in that also it is the cappuccino and the regular coffee which does the thing. And in all the food industry, fast food industry, food put together, anybody walks into this one, क्या खाएगा बेटा? Pizza खाएगा या burger खाएगा? These are the things. Now you give innovations in that, that's a different school of thought. But having said, predominantly it are the only three things. I think everybody plays in that segment only.
Just want, there's a lot of experience on the table, so I just wanted to ask a question, is there any major change in the type of customers we're having in the last 5 years? Because I feel it sometimes, and because probably the different youth right now, and the way they consume information is different. I just wanted to see if anyone can share their experiences.
Phenomenal. The young adults, I'll give an example. I keep giving it in many panels which I said. See, in Mumbai, I used to stay in an affluent society. This young girl, this happened around 3-4 years back. Apparently this family I stay in Mulund, and very affluent family, 14-year-old girl. Now I used to work in CCD back then, and there was a Starbucks and a couple of other chains. I asked this young lady, why do you go there and why not here? In proper Canada, she said, though it was in Mumbai, she said, uncle, selfies chanag baralali. The preference, it's not because the product, selfies in that particular store doesn't come properly, hence I go to that place. So the choices, the requirement, the need are so very heavy. Every time you need to keep changing, upgrading. That's one way to look at it. Second way to think is that this is my way. I will stick to the basics. I will give my product extremely good. I will serve every customer who is walking in the best product. Stay there. I think how many innovations and how many store designs you see in Starbucks. 20 years down the line, it's been the same. McDonald's, how many changes? Since probably 40 years, they have remained the same, consistent, same product, same store design format, everything by and large remains the same. KFC or all these brands, by and large, even Zara for that matter, it's the same black, same grey, same whites. They have remained consistent on that. I think product and these things keep changing the thing. But yes, the Indian customer in today's time is very, very aspirational. He needs changes. You can take the thing from the automobile industry, if at all you want to see. Why do you see the Samsungs of the world being so successful that every 5,000 there is a new car which is there? There are a lot of gizmos added, a lot of these things added, whereas the European brands have not been able to adapt to that kind of a thing. That's why you see that, one brand of one particular car doing so well that other company cars all range put together is one product per se. So I think people are well traveled, products need to keep changing. A little bit of a tweaking here and there will help. You may not shift entirely from your product, and your core can remain the same, but little bit of tweaking in terms of changes. Say for example, ice creams itself, the current industry where I am in, the shift is very much clearly visible towards the chocolate. So if you are not catering to that particular market, you want to still base it on the fruit and things like that, somewhere you are missing the bus. Consistently innovating on where the product range is heading towards this one. But some things can be short-lived also. Veganism is short-lived. It came back and again it is in. How many people took that one? Now there is a craze of diet-free, diet ice creams. I never understood that concept myself. The pizza kind of a thing. I mean, you go to Delhi market and you see the people there, butter chicken, butter naan and diet coke. It happened.
I like the taste of Diet Coke, not because of its lower calories.
No, but you don't understand the logic and the this one behind it. But yes, there is always a thing. Next 5 years also it will continue, especially in the eastern markets. The aspirational quotient are extremely high, and the west and other markets tend to keep boring. Wait and watch are the tier 2, tier 3 cities. Probably the Bombays and Bangalore's and Delhi might take a little bit of a backseat, but what kind of things what you see in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, that's where the experimentation is happening. That's where the people are readily adaptable to the any kind of a new changes. The tier 1, tier 2 like the Ahmedabads or this one, they have gone way beyond. Now you see places like until I came here, I never knew that there was a city by town by name Produttur. The kind of numbers I am seeing there, the kind of people I see there, the kind of kids I see there, their choices, they see it on Google, they see it on this one, and they want that. And the kind of numbers I am doing there are phenomenal. It was hard to believe that these kind of numbers can be. It was an eye-opener, and after that we pumped outlet in Anantapur, we pumped outlet in Kurnool. Forget all Bangalore. Go over to the district headquarters and count your monies.
So I want to add, younger generation is more experiential in nature. Like you add about the photo, right? So we set up a selfie wall in every store for fashion, right? And you tag us and you get an extra discount in our Instagram page. But they're coming to your store for a reason. Otherwise, if it's convenience, they'll buy online. So if they're coming to the store, they want that experience. Sometimes even ready to pay 4 or 5% extra compared to the online discounts that a marketplace can fund, which we cannot even fund as our own brand. So if you're getting them there, they want that experience. Even the food industry, restaurants are getting very innovative with the experience that they offer. Whether it be the ice cream industry, the food industry, retail for sure. You differentiate with the experience you offer to the customer if they've entered your store. So I think that is more important for the youngsters, and of course validation online, which is very important for them. They live on those likes and comments and all on social media. I don't know how long that will last, but this is still the trend for the next 2-3 years for sure.
So there's an interesting thing I'd add on to that. So I've had the fortune of attending such events in different countries. So in 2 different events, I heard Tommy Hilfiger speak, and his mantra from these 2 talks that he gave, and I could take away, was that we are in the business of retailtainment, as he calls it. And if you have an opportunity, I'm sure there's enough of his talks available on YouTube. But I thought that was such a powerful message for today's generation, that it's no longer just retail. People are not coming to stores to buy. They don't have to step out to buy. They can buy online. And today returns are so easy, it doesn't matter whether the size or touch or feel, all of those early concerns are gone. If you don't like it, you can return it. But people step out into malls or on high streets because they want to go out and they want experiences. So at least in US and even Dubai and Europe, I'm hearing a lot of the retailers looking at building the experience, and there are SOPs to define the experience. So there's a brand called J.Lo, for example. This lady Jo, I'm forgetting her second name, but she built a brand, sold it to Elizabeth Arden. No, not J.Lo. Jo Loves. Jo Loves is the new brand she's launched. At 60, she launched the brand after battling with cancer and getting back. They sell perfumes. So they've created an experience center in the store where you have a 7-step interaction with the various aromas, including your head going into something, and you walk into a room where there is a certain aroma, and you open something and there's a certain aroma. So what brands globally are doing today is that they are actually, and even Nordstrom and some of the newer, like Nordstrom has reimagined itself. And those older stores are gone, and the newer stores are completely experience centers where you walk in for a personalized concierge kind of a thing, a personalized fashion advisor who's walking you through. So you don't need the product in the store, like a Carrot Lane in India. They don't keep everything in the store, but there is someone who's walking you through, and there are examples to give you an experience of what it would look like. But experience and designing and taking time out to document an SOP on what that experience will be like is the new thing. for the new generation. So if your customer likes, is a younger person who is into selfies or, pictures of food on Insta, it has to be planned for. We can't just wait for it to happen organically. It may, but we have to plan for it as to what am I doing? How is my SOP creating those triggers for that to happen, consistently? And what are those SOPs because of which people, because a lot of the marketing, as he rightly said, digital marketing, but a lot of this marketing today is by the customer, not by the brand. So how do we encourage them to do this marketing? How do we create opportunities for them to do this marketing? And does the SOP really include that? And at least in India, I have not seen it starting to happen yet, but some of the Western companies we work with, the SOP actually literally, like Lenskart SOPs, define the experience. Every single thing the customer needs to experience, every single, guidance. The SOP is about the experience, not just about the sale or the transaction. How will I encourage the Insta sharing? How will I inform them about some additional possibilities, Or how will I guide them to put a share? So like you have a selfie wall, that's part of an experience possibly. But can there be like a wholesome experience that we have thought through, which either is pulling them to the brand? So one part of the experience is about pulling them to the store. Why will they want to come here again for a repeat visit? And laundry, I don't know, but for food and clothes and jewelry and many of the other products, yes, experiences can bring them back. Like a Claytopia is bringing people back to come and paint that clay item. So that's the experience for which you come. Food is ancillary. Food you could have eaten anywhere, but you go to Claytopia only because you want to go through that experience. So just to add on
just
to
particularly in beauty and wellness category, being as industry from last 24 years, we used to educate the consumer 15-20 years back, but now consumers are educating us what we need to deliver. That's first point. And touch base on the experiential factors, like being as beauty, because we focus on holistic, which is inner and outer beauty, especially post pandemic. We do have something called experiential factors, like we have BCA mission. It's called body composition, right? It's the extension of BMI. So it just gives a complete health guide of the consumer within 2 minutes. Yes, as you said, we are not there. We are trying to make an attempt that to provide that differentiation and to bring back the consumer. So we have reached 10% of that when it comes to on the wellness part. And on the outer beauty, so what we do is we have something called virtual try-on, like where consumer steps in and rather than having a transactional or interaction with our experts or whatever it is, we have something called skin, what type of skin, whether it is a normal skin, oily skin, or what are the other issues. It is the problem statement we are trying to solve it, but we are not there yet. We are trying to make an attempt and reach. We have reached 8 to 10% of the consumer now. At least that is bringing us in terms of customer is coming back. The other big shift is in beauty. Earlier, customer used to look at the category or a product, or a brand. Now it is an ingredient. What ingredient, and also mostly the consumers, they know before entering to the store, what this product is, consists of it. Whether is it good for me to use it or not, because that's, I think, thanks to social media or whatever it is, I think we all spend almost good 4 to 6 hours. I think that is a deciding factor, especially for our category. So even if our expert or somebody is giving a wrong information, that's where it's the mismatch between the consumer and our ground level staff, what we are clearly identifying in that category. Yeah. Thanks.
Anyone else has any questions?
Sorry for asking, but I'm learning a lot. How important do you think loyalty program is for getting that repeat or customers back in second time? We said no, repeat is very critical for every store to kind of do well. How important is loyalty, or is it services better than a loyalty program to kind of get customers back into your door?
I think they might not have heard us.
Sorry. What I'm saying is service is more important than the loyalty. Loyalty plays a second role. First priority is the service, and that's the experience what the customers experience, which will recall them time and again to come into the stores. So that
your smart, like for the smart stores, right? like what would you recommend the heads to do? Launch a good loyalty program after the service is taken care of, or it does not matter, or it's nothing important to have, it's a good to have, that's about it.
Talking about my field, it's a big organization, so I can't decide on that. So it's more of service element is the more key factor and thing, and that the next is the availability of the product, and then the service and the product with the quality plays a major role. So drill down service, availability, and the pricing. So that makes the no difference to the customer's choice.
But loyalty, being as it gives the complete insights of your category, or the frequency of the visits, or what you would like to target, what customer has bought last time, or or whether the customer is buying the same product, or is there a shift? I think there are a lot of benefits about it, but as you said, nowadays customers are looking at instant gratification. If you see DMart, no contact number, nothing. And nowadays, even there are good 20-25% of the customers, they are not willing to provide their contact information. Though whatever you are giving a birthday gift, whether your anniversary, gratification, but customer says no, strictly. So, but it gives a lot of insights being as a retailer, in terms of the frequency of the visit, or which category, which product, or you would like to promote anything, various things, or whether customer is shopping at Gachibowli, or whether customer is shopping at Kokapet or AS Raunagar. There are various, a lot of insights you will gain out of this slide.
I think we'll have that continuous connectivity with the client when you have a loyalty program.
Loyalty actually works well when you have something that people get for being part of the program. Like some of these Myntra and Amazon programs, as part of the loyalty program, you get access to sale products before the launch to all others. So people who care about that, and youngsters do, that I get to choose from the entire range as against the sold out, as some of the best stuff getting sold out, they care. So those kind of programs where there is something in it for me, why do I care about being part? Because extending the loyalty program is one thing, but does it work? Is it delivering the repeat customer? That is the key. And that will happen only when the loyalty. So one of the best programs I have been part of, and I'm a bad shopper. I cannot be taken to a mall. I cannot be taken to a high street. My only shopping is online or airports. Otherwise, there's no shopping. But I was in the US at that time, and there was this brand called Kohl's. And I shopped there once, and they gave me a coupon which could be redeemed in the next 15 days. And instead of giving 50% off, they gave $50 if you buy more than $100. I went there, and a cycle started. And it became part of my routine. That every 15 days, and it was feasible. 15 days is a feasible timeline to visit a nearby store. But the way they executed, and every 15 days it was something else. It wasn't for $50 every time. And every 15-day cycle, something new would be given at the end of the transaction. But it worked somehow.
Or global brands. So the best case studies for loyalty program is Marriott, then Starbucks. So usually either you have global presence, or then it builds a trust factor. So wherever you're going, you're seeing that brand. And like you said, right, service and then the loyalty program. So Starbucks, Marriott, all are examples of service first, and then building that brand presence, and then finally the trust. So it's in fact, even now in India, it is going really well for third wave, for example. Right, so that's the only reason, because they're present everywhere. So whenever we travel to a new city, let's say Bangalore, Delhi, we see their store, and then we go and have a coffee there.
Yeah, I think products which are in some level impulse and at the same time repeatable.
Yes.
Like coffee, there is no limit to how many times you can have in a month. So
correct.
Those kind of products would inherently lend themselves. Because if I am part of the Starbucks loyalty program, maybe if I see 5 coffee shops,
you'll go to Starbucks.
I'm more likely to
Absolutely.
go to Starbucks. Yeah. Interesting. So let's continue the conversations over coffee. I don't want to keep holding you onto this table forever. But we did plan for 2 hours, 1 hour on the table and 1 hour over coffee. So let's continue the conversations, and I'm sure you know who you want to latch on to for your questions. Come. Thanks everyone for being so patient and contributing.